What holds us back from finding true happiness and living our best lives? And what keeps us from taking that leap to do what we need to do to have what we want? The biggest thing that keeps us from finding true happiness is our minds. The way we think about the things we want and our desire to have things go a certain way can create blocks that stop us in our tracks. What stories are you telling yourself about what's possible? Are you expecting things to unfold a certain way? And is that expectation limiting you? Hi friends, I'm Scott, and I welcome you to be one with me as we journey together to be the best we can. What is holding us back? We know what we want, and we've looked at the options that are in front of us. Evaluating the steps we need to take, but the only thing standing between us and that first step is our mind, our fears, and maybe unresolved issues from the past. The mental baggage we carry can be paralyzing. These are the things that hold us back the most. They exist in our minds, yet we let them dictate our actions. When we avoid facing these fears or addressing the issues from our past, we set ourselves up for failure, or at the very least make things harder than they need to be. At the start of each day, write down one fear, doubt that feels loud in your mind. Then write a sentence stating that, what if the opposite was true? How would you see this working out? This begins to loosen the grip of fear. The key to moving past this mental roadblock is understanding that that we have fears, and understanding that fear. Past issues only have power over us because of lack of attention or action to confront them. These things only hold us back because we let them. Living a life free from the grip of fear requires ongoing attention and effort. It's about staying present with our emotions, understanding how they affect us, and actively choosing to move forward anyway. When we recognize that our fears are preventing us from taking the steps we need to take, we can address the root causes of these fears. Take proper action to overcome them. Ask yourself, what have I been avoiding because it feels uncomfortable, even though it's necessary? Where am I letting my past define what I believe is possible today? Sometimes what we perceive as holding us back might be like seem like an insurmountable obstacle. But when we break it down constructively, we can often see that it's not as big as we thought. By looking at the whole picture, we can find smaller actions to take that move us toward our goal, and just taking that first step is often all it takes to begin to overcome what is holding us back. The blockages are often mental, and by simply starting, we liberate ourselves from that mental prison. Identify one thing today that's been sitting on your list or weighing on your heart. Break it down into the tiniest first action. Just do that. Nothing more. Let the momentum do the rest. The moment we take action, no matter how small, we begin to experience the rush of progress. This feeling is more addictive than anything else, and it keeps us coming back for more. The momentum from making progress pushes us forward, helping us overcome smaller obstacles that may have once seemed overwhelming. Just getting started. The key to overcoming anything that holds us back is to take that first step. However small, and build from there. When was the last time you took one small action and felt the satisfaction of progress? What step can you take today that's so small it's almost laughable, but still meaningful? Identifying the problem or perceived problems in our lives is the first step towards solving them. Once we acknowledge and define the problem, we have a place to start from. This recognition becomes part of the solution. To solve any problem, we first have to identify it and understand how it affects us and others around us. Recognizing the ways we hold ourselves back helps us find the solution to move closer to what we want. So just identifying the problem is a step in the right direction. Take 10 minutes to write down 3 areas of your life where you feel stuck. Don't try to fix anything, just acknowledge them and notice how that shifts your perspective. Problems fall into 2 categories. Those we can do something about, and those we can't. In either case, the problem exists in our perception of it, our thoughts about the problem, whether it's big or small. It all starts and ends in the mind. when we can see the whole picture, we may realize that the problem isn't as significant. You know, not as much as we thought, or we, you know, or we just may find a solution that works for us. You know, ask yourself if it's a problem you can solve, or just something you need to release control over. How much mental energy are you spending on things you can't change right now? When we become too comfortable or complacent in our situations, we stop contributing to our relationships, and stop pushing ourselves, you know, stop pushing ourselves forward, toward the things that we want. You know, lack of direction can also hold us back. You know, when we feel stuck in emotional lows, or ride the roller coaster of fluctuating moods, you know, we're often caught in a routine that keeps us from focusing on what we want. You know, this is when we need to reaffirm our goals and take stock of where we are. You know, understanding where we stand allows us to take actionable steps toward the things we desire. You know, in the evening, you know, ask yourself, what did I do today that brought me closer to what I want? You know, even if it's small, acknowledge it. You know, then ask, what one thing can I try tomorrow that moves me forward again? You know, a subtle problem arises when we achieve something we've worked hard for. You know, at first this might sound strange. You know, why would we feel low after reaching a goal? You know, but it's a fact. You know, when we achieve something, something we've worked toward, and don't have the next goal lined up, we may experience a sense of loss or dissatisfaction. The rush we feel while working toward a goal can give us a sense of fulfillment. But once the goal is achieved, the high fades, and we find ourselves in a temporary emotional low, just a temporary low. It's often the case after a major accomplishment, like finishing a marathon. After months of training, the marathon ends, and we're left with a void. Our identity becomes tied to the act of training, and without that focus, we feel lost. Ask yourself, now, have you tied your identity to something you've already achieved? What part of you wants to grow next, and what could that look like? The solution, is a little preparation and continuous attention to our broader goals. When we're constantly working toward something, we don't fall into the void after an accomplishment. We maintain the momentum, I like that word. You know, it's just momentum. It's picking up speed, you know, by setting the next goal and the next goal, you know, by having the sense of direction and knowing the next right thing to do, we keep moving forward. The, you know, happiness, you know, the true happiness isn't about what we've done, it's about what we're doing. And as long as we know what we need to do, we keep doing it, you know, propelling ourselves toward more growth and fulfillment. Each time you complete a goal, celebrate it, you know, celebrate it fully. Then within 48 hours, set the next micro goal to reach another thing that you want or that you need, or another goal. It doesn't need to be, you know, grand, or just enough to keep your momentum flowing forward. Release those fears. Subscribe to this channel and like and share this video. And let me know in the comments your view of different things that hold us back and what we should do about it. You know, visit beonewithme.com. More is coming from the heart for the soul. You know, check out one of these videos, and you know, remember, a smile can make someone's day, and the right words may change their life. I love you. Be you. Be one with me.